So it's with great pleasure that I get to introduce you to a dear friend, Maarten Vanneste, who's going to be talking about multi-hub meetings. Welcome, Maarten.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, um, I've just switched off those noisy branding things. It's noisy enough as it is. And you're wearing headphones. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And let's start with the presentation. But before I start with the presentation, I would like you to move a bit closer. Because we have a small group. And then maybe we can do it without the microphone, and without the headset, who knows. Do you want to move to the first row? Have you ever met this guy? No? You know, one of the things I think is very important in meetings and events is a round of introductions. And I think we should spend more time on that. So, and why is that? Because why are you here?
Because we organise a lot of events. We sometimes live stream them, so looking at the different options of doing hybrid events is quite...
You want to learn something. And you?
Same. Yeah.
You want to learn something. And you?
Sure. So we also ran a lot of meetings with remote teams. So I would love to learn more about how you handle the interaction during the multi-hub meeting.
Okay, so that's a very specific question, also for learning. But I also think that you are also here for another reason. So you have learning, which is a big chunk of why we go to meetings and conferences and events. What's the other chunk? Why do people come to events?
To meet people and discuss ideas.
To meet people, you know, that's number one reason. More and more it's coming up. We want to meet other people because we are people, you know, and we want to learn as well, but we can learn online as well. So the learning is going down and the networking is going up in value. So the interaction, as Shurai was saying, is also very important. Hello. Hi, John. Welcome. So I would like the size of the group is not huge. We have Sophia as well. And in the back we have another person. Are you with us, or are you with Slido? You're from Slido, yes. Okay, you're welcome to listen in, of course. So the group is small, so it's going to be fairly easy. I want you to spend a little time with each other. Sophia, join us. Just put your chair here in between these chairs, and then I would like you to introduce yourself to the other people. And I want him to ask you one question, okay? And then we move to you, and you, and you, and we do like a circular thing, okay? So who are you, what's your name, where are you from, and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Ailey. I work from NHS Improvement as marketing and events manager. So we do sharing and learning events across the NHS, basically for hospitals to share good practice and innovation and help drive care for patients.
Question.
Question for Ailey. Should I ask her a question?
Yes.
Good. So do you run a lot of remote meetings?
We're doing it more and more because we are across England, but a lot of people who work in hospitals might not get sign off to travel to an event. So while there is a definite advantage in getting a group and a core mass of people in the room, we do more and more try and extend the reach beyond the physical event and do a bit more live streaming, etc. And we use Glisser and various engagement tools, yeah.
This microphone is actually an interesting microphone. You have a lot of volume if you do this, and you have almost nothing if you do that. You have a lot of volume if you do this, and you have almost no volume if you do that. This is a microphone for singers, for musicians that have voice techniques and they know how to use a microphone, it's not a microphone for this kind of audience. So I need to instruct you. More people, join, join, join. So I need you to come forward and use the second row. Please sit here in the second row. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so next you're going to introduce yourself. Same system.
So I'm Natalia. I'm from NHS Improvement. I work as a marketing and events manager. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, and then so you know each other. Okay. Who are your participants usually?
So they're usually, people from NHS trusts and foundation trusts. So anything from chief executives, senior managers, HR directors to nurses in various fields.
Cool. Now Juraj is going to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Uri. I'm the marketing director at Slido. Very passionate about presentations, interaction, and marketing itself, and meeting design as well. How to optimize the sessions for the maximum interaction amongst people. So that's what I do. What I like.
Now you can ask a question to Juraj.
So I suppose Slido has probably seen a massive growth in the last couple of years. How does that feel, and how does that affect maybe how you engage with your customers?
Actually, that's a brilliant question. So 5 years ago, we did 250 events in the entire year. This year, it will be around 140,000. So we do about almost 4,000 events in a week compared to 4 or 5 years ago. So it's really on the uptake, the interaction in general. And there has been a shift in creating this kind of a two-way dialogues between the speaker and the audience. It's this passive one-way broadcast is hopefully getting towards the end.
I'm the speaker, so can I have the microphone back, please? It's between you and me, okay, and not between you and you. No, that's very important what you say there. Interaction, what did you say? Interaction is the two-way activity between the speaker and the audience. And I don't think that is enough. And I think you can play a role there too with Slido. It's that you guys are talking to each other. I think that is more important, because if you and I are talking, everybody else is not speaking. And if you are talking in a small group and they are talking in a small group and they are talking in a small group, then we have 4 people speaking, or 20, depending on the number of groups. So more people are activated instead of having one person talking. Okay. Good. Quick introduction by the young ladies in the second row.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and we're from Sheffield Hallam University, so we're all students.
I'm Carrie.
I'm Chloe.
All right, nice to meet you all. So normally if you have a bigger group, obviously you do smaller groups that are having this kind of conversation with each other. So we spend about 10 minutes of my precious time for you guys to introduce you to each other, and I think that's important. I think also we need longer sessions, not shorter, because we're making sessions shorter and shorter and shorter. I think we have to think again, and make sessions longer. Spend a good amount of time on introducing each other, because now you know this guy, you know who they are, and that's, I think, quite relevant. Okay, so let's move into the topic. I will fly through this presentation, and then I will zoom out of the presentation, and then you can ask me a number of questions and we'll continue the conversation. And I know we have one specific topic to address, is the interaction in multi-hub meetings. Okay, multi-hub meetings are a hybrid format of meetings. So hybrid format of meetings is where people also are online. So we have a group in the room and we have also people online. That's hybrid. Now, what is the challenge when you have a remote viewer? Anyone? What is the challenge for that person that is watching remotely?
To make them feel included.
To make them feel included. Yes. What else? That's a big one. That's a high level, issue. They don't. Yeah, they feel that. They feel that they're not really part of it. And what do they do when they feel that?
They log off.
They log off. You lose them, and that's really a big deal, right? Do you have statistics? Wow. Please tell me. How many people log off?
Quite a lot, particularly as our last event, all the tech went down. So,
Then you obviously have another issue. But quite a lot of people log off when when you're sitting alone and you're watching. Also, what is another challenge for the person that is sitting alone and is watching? They don't feel that like they're part of the meeting, but what else? What does that mean? Or
Well, often it's connected with the technical issues. So the sound, live slide sharing and all these kind of things, they can be lagging. And that definitely impacts the whole experience.
so it's less quality of an experience in sound and vision. What else? Let's say I'll give you one. Networking. There's nobody else. I'm alone. I'm sitting behind my screen. There's nobody I can talk to. There's nobody I can drink a coffee with in the breaks, etc. So it's quite boring, And this is, I think, one of the big issues that multi-hub meetings are addressing. It's less boring. So let's do this. Just quickly go through the slides. So there is a lot of fear for technology because you were mentioning already a technical issue. You were talking about technical stuff. And we've done our first, I was involved, I must say, with the first multi-hub meeting, 4 cities for PricewaterhouseCoopers in the year 2000. So that's, you were not even born then, I'm sure. Then you have to stay awake, you have to listen, don't dream, multi-hub meetings, it's groups meeting groups. So we're changing the individual into a group of people. So you can have networking, you can be more engaged, you can talk to other people. So how do we do this? There's lots of different things. It can be groups up to 80 people, it can be 25 groups, anywhere in the world. It's 100% standardized potentially, and this is a case. Here we have intercontinental something. It's 3 continents, and there's a 12-hour time difference between Buenos Aires and Seoul or Hong Kong. Which one is it? Yeah, Seoul. It's a 12-hour time difference. That's huge. But it works. They had like 40, 60 people in this meeting, a medical educational meeting, and it was perfect. This is the guy in London. He's alone. And there's groups in Seoul, Hong Kong, and Buenos Aires. So this is how it looks. It's like a video call. So people keep asking me, what's the difference between a Skype call and this? Well, this is like a Skype call, but then for groups. The difference is that it is for groups. It's not for individuals. Okay? What's happening here? Something in the background. So that's another one. 6 people in 6 cities. Presentation. This is the chair. He's introducing everything. It kind of points out what the rules are. Then there's another meeting, 18 cities, a 2-hour meeting again. 350 participants in 18 cities in 1 country. This is how it looks. This is the moment where everybody has local discussion. So as you can see, they're talking to each other now. They have a local discussion. So you have an engagement. You feel like you're part of the meeting because you have your local people and you talk to them. And you have like something going on. Also networking. If they don't know each other before they walk into the room, they will know each other after this event. Then another one. This is the same meeting actually, but now seen from inside of 4 of those 18 rooms. Sometimes 10 people, sometimes up to 60 people. Another one in 5 cities, a 2-day conference. And I must say, this is all for one single client. Sorry, one single client that did 10 of those in 16, 20 of those in 17, and 40 of those this year. So it's increasing dramatically because it works. This is the Fresh Conference with a speaker. We had 5 cities. This is our own conference for the Meeting Design Institute. And we had speakers in every city. And we had about 200 people connected to each other. So in different cities, in different countries again. And so for the organizers, there is a lot of difference. Yes, maybe I should repeat the Slido code for the young ladies here because they were not here. when we gave the code. So you go to slido.com and you use the etc AT as that's your event code. So that's what you type in if you want to send in questions. But you can also ask them to me because it's not a big group now. Here's an example of such a multi-hub meeting and the different things you do. So you can have a Q&A moment, you can have presentations, you can do voting. And I think there's a couple of success factors here. If we stick to those, success of the interaction, success of the feeling of engagement is going to be there. First of all, everybody must be able to see everybody else. So you have to have a camera in every room. So you have 20 rooms, you have 20 cameras. And probably somebody to operate them. Because the camera needs to zoom into Jurai when he's asking a question, zoom into you if you are asking a question or saying something. So that is essential, But it's affordable. You can do it. It's doable. Second one, everybody needs to be able to hear everybody else. So if you want to ask a question or say something, there needs to be a microphone you can grab and say something. And when you say something, it should be on. It's like this microphone is always on. If you take it and you speak, you will be heard. Same thing with multi-hub meetings. In all the cities, on every table, there must be a microphone people can grab. And they can then listen to what somebody is saying. Number 3, local cohesion. All the people in the local group need to be able to talk to each other for at least 5 minutes per speaker, I would say. And when you do that, you have like local interaction, people talking to each other. Of course, but with the microphones, everybody can ask a question to the speaker. And the speaker can be in another city, and then the speaker can answer that question. But for local cohesion, you want to ask?
Sure. A quick question over here. Do you appoint a facilitator in each location?
Yeah, this needs to be managed. We have seen without real facilitator, but then there is a conference chair, so it's kind of the same. Somebody is the boss, and the person says, "I would like to." Okay. I would like you to let's go to Hong Kong for a question, or Slido receives questions. We see that there's an interesting question from table 3 in Hong Kong, for example. We go to Hong Kong. So, and the facilitator can be in Barcelona and says, "I see that there's an interesting question for Professor J in Sao Paulo. Hong Kong, please, table 3, can you elaborate a little bit on this question?" And then you get an interaction between Hong Kong and Buenos Aires, facilitated by this facilitator in London, for example. And then global inclusion, which means that at least every hub needs to be able to say something. So as a facilitator or a conference chair, you have to monitor this. You have to list and you check boxes. Barcelona has spoken, Madrid has spoken, Badajoz has not spoken yet, so let's go to Badajoz. Nobody has a question in Badajoz, that's impossible. Come on, guys, say something, come up with a question, involve people from all hubs. So if every hub can speak, that's a great thing. So that's it, 4 key elements for success in interaction and in engagement for multi-hub meetings. Make sure everybody can see everybody, make sure everybody can hear everybody, and everybody can ask a question without much effort. Local cohesion by local discussion, global inclusion by allowing every hub to say something. Okay, so that's a lot of theoretical blah. Here we see another example of a real case where you have in hospital a setup. In hospital, NHS, I don't know. In hospital, it's a setup, and all the professionals join to see a speaker or a couple of speakers during a 2-hour meeting. At the end of the day, the beginning of the day, it doesn't matter. So they lose almost no time out of the office, which is a big deal. If you bring 100 people together and they have to travel, then it's an international meeting, takes days out of office time for these people. So this just takes 2 hours. They walk into the room, see the presentations, and they walk out of the room. So they don't even have to take a bus or a bike to get there. This is something different. It's in a city, in hotel rooms. So people take their bike, take their car, take their bus, and go to this city. It means that there's less travel, but you still have groups. And you see the group size, this is like 2, 6, 10 people, and here we have maybe 15. The group size can vary. Depends on the number of people you have and the number of cities you do, etc. So voting can be done, voting in another way. This is an example of a setup where you see local table discussion, but there is also the 2 microphones on the table. So everybody can actually use one of those microphones to speak in the group. This is an example of a company that has standardized equipment and sends technicians to places at a very affordable cost with very compact equipment and standardized booking system. So these microphones, for example, 12 microphones, you can do 12 tables of 8 people. It's roughly 80 people in a room. And this is all portable stuff and is carried by the technicians. Recording is possible. And then the Fresh Conference, we've done a couple of sessions. Last year we've done some other interesting sessions. This is 5 facilitators. We had a facilitator in each hub. You don't need that. You can have a hub, a single hub, like London, for example. Facilitator is there, and that's where it happens. You don't need 5. This is just more fun, because then when you do more local discussion, this facilitator can play a role in the local discussion. So Roy is facilitating the group in Belgium, and Marianne is facilitating the group in Holland, and they all do their little things in their little group, every so often. So it's not always online, it's not always watching the screen. What else? We even did some music. This is beatboxers. Boom, chicka boom, something like that. And we had one in each location, so we had 5 of them, and they were doing their piece of music together. So there is no delay. If you have like a Zoom call, for example, there's no delay. This is actually Zoom, because in Zoom you can do 25 individual screens or groups, on a single screen. So that's a big difference. This is also important. Maybe that's key point number 5. You have to make sure that you have moments where everybody can see all the other hubs. So everybody realizes we are actually, 16 hubs, and we're all online, and everybody can see this. This is an important video as well. This is Fresh 18. So in the beginning of this year, we even did breakouts. So every city had 3 breakouts. So we had 60, 3 times 4, how much is that? 3 times 4, 12, yeah. So we had 12 sets, 12 setups, 12 cameras, 12 tables like this, where you can see, somebody's holding the microphone. You see that? He's talking, he's asking a question. He can see himself on the screen here. You see that? So he's asking a question to this person in South Africa here, and then she's going to answer. So this is breakout number 2, and that's breakout number 3, and then breakout number 1 is on the other side in the same room. So at a given moment we did a Mexican wave between those hubs. So that's all possible, and everybody's online, and everybody's hearing the same thing and seeing the same thing. This is the second day we did the breakouts in the coffee space and in the lunch space. So it was a little more quiet, just easier for participants. We had 3 time zones, that always a little challenging. And then we had hub facilitators in every hub. And we had a jury for the awards, and they were all women. I don't know what that has to do with multi-hub meetings. And there is a book on multi-hub meetings, which you can get here for a discounted price at no shipping cost. Hello, you're joining, welcome. So that's it. That's my presentation. I will now zoom out by hitting the minus on a keyboard. This is PowerPoint, nothing special. Just hit the minus, hit it again and again. And then you see that you have small versions of all the slides. So, what are the questions? Did I answer your question, Juraj?
Actually, I have one more question. So, you have a dedicated facilitator per each location, do you have somebody who is like a master of ceremonies, who is actually coordinating with those local facilitators?
Yes, indeed. So here we had two main hubs. The blue dots are the main hubs, and the main facilitator was actually the meeting owner, and she was like introducing the speakers, and she was, controlling this, not in a super professional way because she is not a facilitator, but we also had a facilitator that was working in that space and helping people to do the right thing. So, and then if I go back to minus, if we look at the situation of Fresh, here Elling was our master, or Roy was our master facilitator. Yes, in this case. So we had one person that leads the pack. But again, you don't need a facilitator in every hub. That is not necessary. Any other questions?
Actually, I do have, but I don't want to hijack the Q&A. But one more about the master facilitator. Does he just give a cue and let the local facilitators give instructions to the group, or does he or she give the instructions from the main hub and the rest just follow the lead?
Yeah, so these questions are going really deep already into facilitation of these hubs. But I'm happy to answer that question, but I think there must be more questions about, is this reliable? The technical stuff, the internet, the technology, how much does this cost, etc. Fundamental stuff. So feel free to ask me those questions as well. Your question is about how do these people that are in different locations coordinate everything. So the only thing they had was a Skype call in the morning where they would talk about what happened yesterday and agree on a few things. And then secondly, there was a WhatsApp in the background. So everybody had this WhatsApp and there was instructions flowing there. But people more or less knew what to do, and they were professionals. So it was very nice to see that, for example, when we did this in this year, Sam Allen, for example, and Tim and Bev, they're really professional facilitators, so they know what to do and they're very flexible. What other questions do we have? Like, for example, how would you do this? What kind of multi-hub meetings are you thinking now for NHS?
It would probably be for internal staff, all staff briefings, because we have people at different sites across England. About 12.
12 hubs, and how many people in total? 7,000 people in 12 hubs. That's a lot of people. That's a bigger production. That's not a technician traveling with equipment. In the book, there are several cases. One of them is 4,000 people in 26 cities in Europe, I think. So this is a medical company, and they have, in every country in Europe, they have a local company, and they are all together 4,000 people in 26 cities. That's a very interesting case. It's a little heavy on the production side, but it's doable. The kind of multi-hub meetings that I was showing earlier are very light. So it's very simple and very portable and small and very affordable. You can really spend more money on trussing and lighting and decoration and branding and professional cameramen really moving with the camera and sound technician and a director and a switcher and all that stuff in every hub. So you have a little production in every hub. Or the simple version is one technician with suitcases. But for 7,000 people, I think you have to go to a higher level with that.
Hello. What are the biggest challenges that you face when doing this, and how do you overcome them?
The biggest challenges when we do this, thank you, is I think the speakers. So the only thing we can do is try to get them in a call and work with them so that they understand, so that they relax and they know what is happening and they know what to expect. And we also need to tell them that they have to give away some of their time to the audience because we will let the audience have local discussions. I think that's really essential component. Here it's important, but we tend to skip it. But I think there we have to be much more strict. We have to say, no. You have to have a local discussion for every presentation, for every speaker. Because otherwise these people are all sitting there in this room, remotely connected to speakers that speak from different cities, and it doesn't feel right. So if they have a moment that they can talk to each other about the topic, it helps a lot in lifting that feeling of engagement.